Hello, my name is GIlcrease, and I do apologize if my dogs start barking, but sometimes they get really excited. I'm going to be talking today about what I might do for about a 10 to 15 minute clip of a lesson for a 10-year-old. So we would start off with a lesson card info at the very beginning of any lesson so that I can double check any information, check for spelling, check for addresses, parent information, that kind of thing, how to get in contact with everybody. And then we would move on to giving them my music resume and my policies, my procedures, and of course practice information so that they know how often to practice, what to practice, and that's going to really play into our day-to-day lessons as well. So I'm going to give them their 16 basic warm-up exercises. Right at the beginning, it's going to be a cardstock paper, and then they're going to get 5 sheets of 55 one-line melodies. Now I'm getting all of this from kind of a standard practice book that I have, but it's going to ensure that they are able to really hit some of these patterns and understand some of these notations. And we're also going to have a little bit of music theory thrown in there as well on a weekly basis, just to keep us all being able to read and learn how to sight read music, so that we can also not just sight read it, but maybe play it on the piano as well, and also sing it. So those 55 one-line melodies kind of go graded by difficulty so that they hopefully get better as we move on. Hopefully they will. So the first thing we would do is we'd start off with breathing, and we would practice inhaling, standing straight up, and we would stand with good posture, taking a deep breath by opening our mouth, throat, and nasal passages. So we really want to get all this back here opened up. We want to fill up our stomach from bottom to top. So we really want to try to get that, what I call a Buddha breath. So we really start low and fill it up. You want to not let your shoulders rise or your chest rise. You want to hold that air and then try not to close your throat. And then a fly should be able to fly down your lungs if it wanted to, which would be terrible. So we're going to try to keep it open, but just long enough so that we avoid all flies. Then we're going to exhale, and we're going to practice by breathing out through our teeth to create a sense of friction and tension so that we can learn to slow down how quickly we exhale. So we would breathe in and then out. And we would do that for as long as we could, trying to up the breathing out game for each lesson, trying to do it for a few more seconds each time. And then eventually we're going to go into a zzz sound and a sh sound. Shh is very difficult to do. It requires a lot of air, so we want to work our way up to that. And then we want to move into our humming. Now, once we practice our posture, once we practice our breathing, get those shoulders back and then relaxed, we're ready to practice our singing. So we would do we would hum down on 5 notes, and we would hum on sol, fa, mi, re, do, but it would be a hum. So we would try to make our sound go into our nose. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it sounds too nasally. Well, it's a great place to start so that you really get the breath and the sound in the correct spot. If it's a girl, if it's a guy who loves unicorns, I say make yourself a unicorn, get that sound going out right here so that you really get it into those nasal cavities and you can produce a really lovely tone that you can control. Once you can control it, then you can add vibrato later. You can color your notes however you want, but if you can't color inside the lines first, you really don't want to start singing out with all this vibrato thrown in there. It is very healthy to have vibrato, but you cannot control your tone as well, and it will not sound half as lovely to your audience. So we're going to start with our warm-ups of Oops, that's me. There we go. Usually going up on these, sorry. Now what we would do later on is we would add mi, re, do, mi, re, do, mi, re, do, and we would add our movements as well. And then we would start back up here once we got all the way through. would start back up here, and then we would mi, re, do, and do that all the way down. And then we would start back over. Once we hit our point back down here, we would start back over on our G chord here, and we would fa, mi, re, do, and then we would go down and fa, mi, re, do, fa, mi, re, do, and then we would go down on sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do. We would practice through that until we started to really understand our singing and our hand motions. Sol, fa, mi, re, do, and we would really work our way through that so that we would understand physically, we would understand mentally, we would understand nasally how our tones come together. Now from there, we would go up and we would do some buzzing, we would do some sirens, really open up our voice, and then we would start in on any of the songs that we wanted to work on for the day. Now with those songs, we would start with our homework as well, because our homework would be, depending on where they are, I would work from a book that, something along the lines of, starting right at the very bottom with our rhythm. Now we would start off with our rhythm understanding by working through this together. We would set a beat, whatever beat that want to be, and then we would clap this out. We would clap our heartbeats out because it's so important to internalize the beat. If you can't internalize the beat, it makes it very difficult to sight read. It makes it very difficult to understand how music comes or goes from sound to sight. So we want to make sure that we're able to pull from what we hear to the page and pull from the page to what we hear. We're going to build on that slowly. And we would start with rhythm, moving into pitch, singing some songs that are a little silly, but they work really well. And then we would, of course, tie all of this in and perhaps learn a single pattern that ties in with a song that we want to learn, or multiple songs that we want to learn, because it's really important to tie in what you're learning to songs that you actually want to sing and styles that you really want to sing. If you want to be an opera singer, we're going to work on your vibrato right off the bat. We're going to work on projection. We're going to work on that a lot. If you want to be a pop singer, we're going to work on really hitting offbeats and understanding jazz well, because if you don't understand how to sing jazz, it's very difficult to be a pop singer, because it's all about how you get that story across to people. And also, you're going to need to learn your breathing techniques really well, because if you're going to be a pop singer, you got to learn how to dance and sing at the same time. You got to be at peak efficiency. So there's a lot that goes into being able to sing properly. But once we get through our homework, once we work through that, then we're going to practice singing one of our songs that you have chosen, because we've got a repertoire, but it's really up to what you would like to sing. What styles do you like? And we can find music for all that. I like to use Sheet Music Plus. I use Music Notes, 8 Notes, J.W. Pepper, all sorts of things. And we've got a lot of music that we can rewrite, transpose. I've got some piano going on here. Not a ton, but I can certainly accompany a simple song, that's for sure. Either way, we always want to make sure that we remember that singing is something that anybody can learn. It is a skill, and it is something that if you start young, it'll be a little bit easier, like a language or like math, science, doesn't matter, anything. The younger you start, the faster you'll pick it up. So it's a really good thing to start at 10 years old. And that means that if you would like to go on and be a professional, then we can start working on making those connections that you need, auditioning for those shows that you need to be a part of, and really building your resume and repertoire so that you actually are able to have a backlog of songs to do whatever you want with. So that's kind of where we are with our 10-year-old lesson beginning. Again, my name is GIlcrease, and thanks for listening.